Alright, hello everyone. So the new IDs have just dropped their coins, so let's just take a look at what the hell they do. For Liu Ryoshu, she is pretty much going to be a full-on potency character, and her clashing power is actually decent. She is not like the previous Liu IDs who have really bad clashing power. She can actually clash against a lot of stuff really well. Right, so starting with skill 1, if you are able to hit all these conditions here, which is 10 plus burn, then you will be able to roll up to 14 with this skill 1, as well as 3 burn potency application here. For skill 2, you are going to roll 5, 10, 14 at the start, but then once you get all of this coin power, you are able to hit 17, and then you apply 2 burn potency, as well as deal 50% more damage at 6 plus burn potency. And then for skill 3, it's also going to be a 6 plus burn potency condition, and you will hit about 12, but then once you get the coin power plus 1, you will go up to 16, and then plus that clash power 17 in total. So you got a 17, a 17, and a 14 as long as you meet the conditions, making this character probably one of the best 2-star clashing IDs for the Liu Association. And then besides that, this skill tree here also applies a bunch of burn potency and also does additional 40% damage if target has 10 plus burn. So for this character, the maximum breakpoint is to hit 10 plus burn as much as possible, while the regular one is going to be just 6. And then pretty much your skill 2 and skill 3 will be at maximum power, except for this skill 3, the 4th coin. That one requires 10 plus burn potency, but as long as you have 7 burn already on the target, you can inflict the last 3 yourself here. Yep. Defense skill is going to be Guard, important for Wrath Resonance, and the passive is an on-kill. Then you will be able to apply 4 burn to 2 random enemies, and in focus encounters it's to 2 random parts. I haven't tested yet. I need to check if it's actually going to bounce to the parts, because let's say we fight Sun Shower and there's multiple umbrellas. What happens when you kill the umbrella? Does it actually bounce to the body parts of the Sun Shower Fox, or does it go to the umbrellas as well? Are they included in the parts? That one I'm not too sure. Because if it does work like how I think it does, that means that whenever you kill an umbrella with Ryoshu, maybe you use a 4th match flame ego, then you'll be able to apply 4 burn to each of the fox's body parts, which is actually quite powerful in certain situations. So this passive is sometimes useful, but most of the time it's not going to be very useful, in my opinion. Right. So Ryoshu, really nothing much else to say. She's a very simple character. She's here to apply potency. And outside of Mirror Dungeon, potency is actually quite a bit of a problem for the Liu Association. They have a lot of count generation, but they don't have a lot of potency generation. They can't get to 99 that fast. It takes quite a long time. But yeah, moving on, let's talk about Rodion. Rodion is more of a count character, but anyway, she buffs all of the Wrath characters really well. So starting off with the first skill, it's going to be coin power plus 2 for every 3 burn. Sorry, so it's coin power plus 2 at 6 burn, and the actual calculation is coin power plus 1 for every 3. So once you hit 6, you get coin power plus 2. So it's 6, 12, 12 plus 3, 15 on skill 1, not bad. And for this one, it's going to be 16 by default, and then coin power plus 1 for every 6 burn, so you need 12 burn in total. 12 burn in total is going to be 6, 12, 18, 18 plus 4, 22 with the additional coin power. So really very nice hard hitting move. Hit to inflict an additional plus 1 burn count. Since we are a positive SP ID, this is actually going to be quite common. So triple burn count here, pretty much this one character can already settle most of the burn count requirements, because besides her skill tree, there's not really any other ways to consume burn count at this point in time. Lastly, the skill tree, this skill 2, the 3rd coin, is going to also spread burn. You do need to spread burn, and it's quite important to maintain a certain amount of burn on the bosses for the passive. I'll talk about it later, but this spread burn here is actually quite important. Skill 3 is going to be 16 by default, add plus 1, now you're 20, really good. And then you get additional 30% more damage, 4 burn potency in general, and then inflict Wrath affinity damage equal to burn potency on target, max of 30. So it's a bit disappointing because it could have been 99, but doesn't really matter because this is still going to be additional damage. The main problem with burn is actually just getting enough potency to jumpstart everyone's kits, because without the burns being applied to the target, you will not be able to power up the characters to their maximum power level. So this thing here, only reducing burn count by 2 is really not a problem. Like, just use a bunch of skill tools for Rodion and you pretty much have a positive +6 here on the burn count. And remember, burn is not like any other status, it is not consumed on hit. Burn will decay by 1 every turn. So you have no problems maintaining enough burn to pop your skill 3, especially if you were to bench your Liu Honglu to get additional +1 count so that you'll be able to get a million burn count onto the enemies. So burn count has never really been a problem for the Liu Association. This one I know, and I've talked to people who run burn also. Burn count is not the issue. It's always about getting the burn potency to the correct levels as fast as possible. Yep. So with this, it's not too much of a problem. You can just treat this line as an extra damage as long as you can hit to 30 burn potency. Yeah, that's it. This part here doesn't really matter too much for burn. Defense is going to be a Wrath skill, and that's good for the Wrath Resonance. The passive, as you can see here, requires 3 Wrath Resonance, and you also need 18 burn potency on a target to get the maximum of 30% damage. Combat start, if all enemies have 6+ burn potency, then you will be able to trigger this apply 1 Wrath damage up. And in focus encounters, this only activates when all enemy parts have 6+ burn potency. So that means that you do need to do a little bit of management. You need to make sure that the enemy has at least 2 burn count applied, as well as 6 burn potency at minimum. Why? Because it's going to tick down once this turn, and then next turn at combat start, this effect here will check whether the enemies have 6 burn. So you need to apply 2 burn count plus 6 burn potency at the start, otherwise you will not be able to get the effect here going on. And that's going to be the little bit of brain work that you need to do when you fight bosses. Right. The last one is going to be attack power up for Liu Association. This does not fix anyone's clashing problems. The Liu Association by default will roll around 12, 14, 11 most of the time. So for the 2-star IDs, this is not really going to fix anything at all. So really not too interesting. For Ryoshu, for Ishmael, it's pretty okay. It makes them clash by 1 higher. It's okay. I'm not sure if it affects herself. I have not tested that one yet. It says allies, so I'm assuming it does not include herself, but if it does, then it would be nice. Otherwise, then the only other option I would say is probably Gregor as the last Liu Association that you want to run with the rest of the Liu gang. Yep. So this character is actually very simple in terms of understanding her. You just want to apply a bunch of coin power and then use your skill tree to pop the burn after you have been able to apply a bunch of burn using the rest of your team. She herself is not a super great burn applier. She only applies 2 here as well as 4 here. You still need more support for burn potency application, which is still one of the major problems for this archetype. Right. So these characters, very simple, good additions to the Liu Association. Let's talk about some potential team comps. So looking at the full burn list of characters, I would say the most important character to run is actually going to be Liu Gregor, as well as Liu Ryoshu. You need these two to apply as much burn potency as possible. I know Ryoshu doesn't apply that much potency, but there is Masault's passive that you want to try to land on her. Because if Masault's passive lands on her, you get additional +1 burn. And if you've noticed, Ryoshu's speed, okay, when you up-tie her, she becomes 3 to 7. Gregor will also be 3 to 7. And then the other Liu characters will be like 3 to 6 and so on. A lot of them have 3s in their numbers. So in the Liu Association, lower speed is actually pretty advantageous because of this part here. You want to get more burn potency as much as possible, because you want to hit the breakpoints so that you'll be able to get coin power, and then you want to get to 99 as fast as possible so you can do more Dark Flame damage. So it's very, very important to get as much potency as possible, so these 2 characters here are quite important. Ryoshu is slightly less so, but she's a very good clasher, so you would still want to bring her along. She also is a bit of a rare source of gluttony in this kind of team comp here, so it's actually quite useful as well to get you that gluttony source. Yep. Gregor is used because his potency application is the best among all of the Liu Association. He applies 4 here, he applies 113 here, and he applies 1113 here. The thing about the separate numbers is that because of Masault's passive giving a +1, if it ever hits Gregor, then he gets a +1 to every single time this happens. So it becomes +2, So it becomes a inflict 2 burn, 2 burn, 2 burn, 2 burn. So this 8 burn. This one's going to be 2 burn, 2 burn, 4 burn, which is 8 burn. And this one is 2 burn, 2 burn, 2 burn, and 4 burn, which is going to be 10 burn. So he is a very, very good burn potency applier. It's a bit similar to how Rupture uses Rule Spanner Workshop Gregor alongside AEDD to become the main Rupture count. Well, this Gregor is very, very important for the burn potency for the burn gang. So he's actually a very core support for this team comp. Otherwise, you don't really have a lot of potency application. And yes, I know his clashing power is not great, but the fact is, with the addition of Ryoshu and Rodion, that frees up 2 slots here. So you don't need these 2 people anymore, and they can be used where they're supposed to be used, which is on the bench. And you only need to uptie them to level 2 in order to get the full benefits of this. Yeah, so you don't even need to uptie them that high, and I think it's quite nice budget-wise. So I think the rest of the characters here are pretty self-explanatory besides these 2 here. You want Shootis for burn, obviously. Dark Flame is very, very strong. Ninclair is actually a pretty decent potency applier as long as you can get tail hits with his skill 2. If you want, you can use his egos as well. 9-2 applies more burn. Lifetime Stew makes it so that every tail hit he does also applies more burn. If you want to go hardcore into that, you can force Wrath Resonance with Impending Day, or you can use your skill 3 Self-Destructive Purge. Yep. Either way, this character is quite good because he does generate a bit of gloom for the gang. Otherwise, you're not able to get any gloom source at all besides Ninclair. I'm pretty sure Rodion does not have a single gloom at all. Yep. Right. And then besides that, if we were to look at Ishmael is pretty obvious, right? Ishmael is going to be the burn gang character, and she also has +2 burn count here as well as +2 burn count here. Very, very important that she has +2 because you need 6 potency and 2 burn count to make sure the burn transfers over to the next turn so that your combat start passive for Rodion is going to trigger, and she is the secondary source of that burn count application. With Liu Rodion being the other source with her skill 2. So you do kind of want to have 2 to increase the consistency of getting your passive online, and then you'll be able to be very comfortable after the first few turns because you have already accumulated enough burn count. Yep. So honestly, good addition as well. And then that is pretty much the team comp that I've theorized for the burn gang. One option that I did think of was that maybe you swap out your Liu Ryoshu and you just slap in a Regret Faust to get access to the 9-2 ego, and so that the Wrath damage up can affect her skill 3, which is a very, very powerful skill by itself. She is a very, very good character as long as you can hit multiple targets, and most of the time you will be able to because bosses usually come with 2 body parts nowadays, so she's able to hit them both. Right, so yeah, something like this could work, and of course if you want to go full on into the burn and just stack potency as much as possible, then you can go for something like this. I do not recommend running these 2, even though there is Kapot Massault. It's just not that worth it. Potency is always the main problem. It's not really count, even though these 2 have quite a bit of count. Burn has not had a problem with maintaining count, especially with the Liu Rodion being now a -2 count. It's still nothing. -2 count is nothing. You will be able to stack a crap ton of count. So really not a need to worry about that at all. Yep. So that's going to be for the full burn comp. And then now we talk about some Wrath other options. So the thing is, what happens if you decide that I want to go for a full Wrath burst comp instead? Because we do have Dichi Honglu, who has an extremely powerful expand knowledge, being able to repeat coin as long as you maintain Insight Tree. In the previous videos, I did teach how to do the Dichi Honglu tech, which lets you keep your Insight Tree. You don't even need to have a support for this character, so you're able to maintain it yourself as long as you keep abusing the fact that your dodge button makes it so that you cannot discard any skills. So with that, you're able to maintain your Insight Tree and you're able to get a very powerful red skill here. Of course, a Regret, I just mentioned, a red skill is very good. Self-Destructive Purge is very good red skill, and there are other red skills here that I haven't really explored, but in general, this skill is very strong, this skill is very strong, this skill is very strong, so why not let's use Liu Rodion's passive to buff them. So with the Wrath Fragility from her 4th Match Flame Ego, if you did not know, her 4th Match Flame Ego at uptie 3 will apply a single instance of 3 Wrath Fragility next turn. If you uptie it to 4, it will become AoE, 3 slots. While for Ishmael, her Kapot Ego, her Kapot Eagle will apply a very nice ref damage up to all allies next turn, as well as for burn. You can of course do this instead, which just does like a bunch more burn. I think it applies 5 burn in a 4 AoE instead, but not really that great. But essentially I'm using this just for the ref damage up. So Kapot Ishmael will do ref damage up next turn. Liu Rodion will do ref agility 3 next turn. And then what happens is that make sure all of these characters here have been set up already. You just set up your insight tree, you set up your tremor so you can use your skill tree, and then you set up this character, use his skill 1 beforehand so that your skill tree will do a little bit more damage. And you can pop this, pop this, pop this, pop the skill 2, pop the skill 2, that's 5 absolute resonance, you get 1 additional ref damage up, so everyone has 2 ref damage up, enemy has 3 ref agility, and then you unleash your big ref nukes to enemies. I think this is a pretty interesting strat and could potentially do a crazy amount of damage when you consider that your Regret Faust here is going to hit 2 parts and your 4th Match Flame Rodion is going to hit 2 parts as well. I think this is actually a pretty interesting setup and could potentially do quite a lot of nuke damage to a single target. Basically a boss. Yep. So besides that, I couldn't really find out any other options, so I just slapped in a Shootis, because technically after a while, like maybe like 5 turns plus, you do get a respectable amount of potency, so you can start popping that with your magic bullet. It's not as great as the burn team because potency you really do need Gregor, otherwise you don't have a lot of potency application. But yeah, in the ref team I just kind of slapped her in because I couldn't really think about any other options for the ref team. But yeah, that's really about it, I think, for all of the different team comps that I've tried. If I missed anything, feel free to let me know. And if you have your own team comps, feel free to post them in the comments, and then we can all go and take a look at them and see which one could be the next big thing. But right now, I'd say Burn is still not as strong as all of the other statuses. And the big limiter is going to be the potency, not the count. Because Burn is special in that it only takes down 1 every turn instead of every hit. Right, so count is not the big restrictor. The big restrictor is the potency. It takes quite a while to get there. So I hope that in the future maybe another burn ID will drop, and that burn ID will apply a crap ton of burn potency, even more than what a Liu Gregor does, so that we are able to get a crazy amount of burn at a very early stage, and that will get the ball rolling really fast. Yep. So that's going to be it for this video. Pretty much I would say that the best team right now is actually just going for the full burn. Otherwise you miss out on a lot of potency, and then Shootis just doesn't really work very well with less than 99 burn. You do want to get as much burn as possible so that your Dark Flame can do a crazy amount of damage. And the crazier the damage is just requires you to be at 99 burn potency so you can get the maximum damage output from this. Yep. Of course, you can try the ref nuke method and tell me if it works, but I feel like that is actually a bit reroll heavy. You will need to try to get your insight early, you need to try to get your tremor stuff early, so that you'll be able to prepare for the nuke turn, and it also costs quite a bit of resources. So I don't really know, but I think it's just a fun way to go and nuke a boss down to 0. But I think generically the burn characters here, the Liu Association, Ryoshu and Liu Rodion, are going to be slapped into this kind of burn team here, where you definitely need her for potency, and then you just try to stack as much potency on the other characters here to get to 99 burn as fast as possible. If you're in Mirror Dungeon, you don't need to worry too much because you can get a lot of burn stuff in there, but yeah, in this case, burn potency is the big limiter, not count. Alright, so that's really it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to just let me know any other potential team comps and what you're hoping for maybe like Liu Yisang, because Liu Yisang is in this guy's art, isn't he? Okay, not in this one, it's in the uptight one. There he is. Maybe one day, huh? Okay. Alright, so that's it. See you guys later. Bye bye.